Hello, aspiring actors, and welcome to another session with me, Spencer Cramber. Today, we're going to delve into a topic that is crucial for anyone looking to nail their on-camera commercial auditions. We're going to discuss the importance of knowing your eyeline, blocking, and framing. Now, as a commercial casting session director, as well as an actor and teacher with 17 years of experience, I've seen firsthand how mastering these skills can make or break your audition. So let's jump right in. Too often I've seen as an actor and heard directions such as, oh, this is going to be a huge spot, it's going to air during the Super Bowl, or this director is blowing up right now, or your character is an old soul, blah, 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 which is all good information that we do eventually need. And we smile and we nod because we want to be polite, but all we're thinking is, what is my blocking, my eyeline, and what's the framing? I call these elements the bones of the audition. They are the same foundation for all the actors reading for the role. Once you know these elements, you get to add on the muscles, the flesh, the tiny details that make you interesting and unique. So let's look at each of these 3 points one by one. Understanding your eyeline is crucial for creating a believable audition and demonstrating your ability to follow direction. It means being aware of where the camera is and directing your focus accordingly, meaning either into camera or off camera to other characters and items in the scene. Typically for spokesperson auditions, the camera is your scene partner because you are speaking to the audience at home. You want to maintain consistent eye contact with the lens, as if you're engaging with the person on the other side, who you are encouraging to use the product. This establishes a connection and allows the viewers to feel your presence. Now, if the audition is for something other than a spokesperson role, your eyeline will typically be elsewhere off camera. A good session director will be very clear about where you should look during the scene. We'll often use Post-its with X's on them to help. Sometimes we'll have you play your eyeline towards the board, which is a big piece of paper next to the camera that has the lines on it. We may also use items in the room as an eyeline, such as a light in the ceiling, a poster on the wall, the doorknob, the light switch, the base of the tripod that the camera is on. Literally anything you want to pay careful attention to because everyone is getting the same explanation and you don't want to be the one person doing it differently. Not following direction is not a good way to stand out, and pay special attention if there are several eyelines in a scene. For example, all right, play your mom and dad to these marks on the wall. Grandma is the lamp over in that corner. Play Godzilla as that fan up there on the ceiling. Oh, and deliver your last line into camera. Eyeline isn't just important to demonstrate that you can listen and follow direction. It builds the connection between you and the story. Pay attention to what your eyes are looking at when you watch almost any TV show, movie, or commercial. 99% of the time, you're looking at the character's eyes, into the character's eyes. The eyes are truly the window to the soul. Now, if your eyes as the actor are not focused on what you as the character want in the moment of the story, the audience, and therefore the director, will not believe you. It's all about the eyes. It starts with knowing where you are looking, when, and why. Moving on to blocking, which refers to the physical movements and positioning within the frame. In commercial auditions, you're often given specific instructions about where to stand or move. Paying attention to these details is crucial as it shows your ability to take direction and work within a given space. Remember, a majority of the time, all the actors are receiving the same direction. All right, you're going to start out of frame to your right, which is camera left. On action, walk into frame, land on the mark. Once you've landed, look to blank and say your lines or do whatever your action is, whatever the scene calls for. And then exit to your left, which is camera right, and cut. Whatever the blocking is, it informs you how to move throughout the audition. Perhaps there is no blocking and you're just going to stand on the mark where you said your name at the beginning for the entire audition. And that's fine. That's also good to know so you can make your choices within those confines or choose to ask for permission to walk into the scene. For comedic effect, actors have asked me if they could do something such as enter the scene by rising up from the bottom of the frame. Depending on the casting director, and the tone of the piece, I've said both yes and no to these requests. What frustrates us as session directors is when an actor absent-mindedly doesn't pay attention to the eye line and blocking, because the 9 actors before you, who all heard the same explanation, performed the scene accurately. And now you're going to stick out like a sore thumb. But if you're very clear on what the blocking is, you can use that confidence to expand your character choices to how you move throughout the scene. Perhaps with swagger, or sneakily, or with amazement, or adding a silly pirouette, I don't know. As long as it's true to the character and the scene. That's how you can stand out in a good way, by bringing your personality to the audition. Remember, blocking is not just about following instructions. It's also about using the space to enhance your performance. Make deliberate choices in your movements to accentuate key moments or highlight certain aspects of the product or brand you're representing. Understanding how to navigate the space while staying in frame will make you stand out from the competition. Which brings us to our final point, framing. Framing is how you and the scene are visually composed within the screen. It's essential to understand how different shots can affect the audience's perception of your performance. There are only a handful of frames for an audition. Full body, mid-thigh, also called cowboy from the old westerns where the filmmakers wanted the audience to be able to see the gun on the thigh and the hip. A medium shot, which is waist up. A medium close-up, where the bottom of the frame is at about the sternum. And a close-up, meaning the bottom of the frame is at about the collarbone. There are times we push the camera in for an extreme close-up, but that happens pretty rarely. A majority of the framing exists between the cowboy and the medium close-up. Here's how and why you want to handle each one of these frames differently. If the frame is a cowboy, again mid-thigh, you have to be more animated and use your body accordingly. You can pivot your feet, turning to the left or the right. Gesture with your hands, swivel your head to take in the eye lines. Now on a medium frame, you can do the same movements as a cowboy, but you'll want to plant your feet more, as swaying will make it harder for the audience to focus on what you are doing, specifically with your eyes. On a medium close-up, you'll want to become less demonstrative with your hands and arms and put more focus into what you are communicating with your eyes and facial gestures. You'll want to minimize your head movements too. And on a close-up, it's all about the eyes. Instead of turning your head to adjust your gaze, you're better off shifting your eyes to your eye lines and keeping your head still. Again, study what you see on your screens, at home, on your phones, in the movie theaters. Notice how little movement the actors are doing on their close-ups and how focused you are on their eyes. A good actor knows their frame, is not afraid to ask for it. Ideally, a good session director will inform you what it is so you don't have to ask. If it is a group scene, there may be no need to ask, as we are going to frame the scene to the best of our ability to frame you and whoever else is in the scene with you accordingly. A 2-person scene will typically be a medium frame for both of you. A 3-person or 4-person scene will be framed so you're all mid-thigh or on a wide shot. For these group auditions, we may push in on certain moments to get close-ups, which we may or may not tell you about depending on what we are trying to get. If you're auditioning for a close-up shot, remember that every subtle expression and movement will be magnified. Use this opportunity to showcase your emotional range and connect with the viewers on a deeper level. On the other hand, if it's a wide shot, consider how your body language and gestures can communicate your character's personality effectively. Being aware of the frame helps you make intentional choices and adapt your performance to fit within the desired visual composition. It demonstrates your professionalism and understanding of the medium. So, in conclusion, knowing your eyeline, blocking, and framing is vital for succeeding in on-camera commercial auditions. Understanding where to direct your gaze, navigate the given space, and use the frame can significantly enhance your performance and increase your chances of landing a callback and that coveted role. If, after you received an explanation from the session director, any of these elements are not clear, ask for clarification. Those are perfectly acceptable questions to ask, especially if the director hasn't given them to you. We'd rather you ask during the explanation instead of coming into the room and wasting time hoping you understood the direction. Keep in mind, without the bones, your audition will be a big pile of mush. And remember, practice makes perfect. Set up a camera at your home and rehearse your auditions, paying close attention to your eyeline, blocking, and framing. Seek feedback from trusted sources or consider working with an acting coach who specializes in on-camera work. With time and dedication, you'll develop a keen instinct for these essential skills. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope you found this lecture insightful. Stay focused, stay disciplined, keep honing your craft, and most of all, have fun. Until next time, this is Spencer Cramber signing off. Break a leg.